great vehicle to improvise on. So so there was a tune that George Gershwin wrote in the 30s called "I Got Rhythm," really kind of corny, hokey. I got rhythm, I got music, you know, and it was like, you know, I got rhythm, that's how it was played. But all these musicians realized, oh well, 1, 6, 2, 5. That's a really cool progression. I can improvise over that. And then you got. So you have different ways of approaching it, and that's how sort of the Great American Songbook affected jazz. Is that these musicians, as it came up through the big band era and the swing era, and then into bebop, these guys discovered all of these great tunes that were just great vehicles to improvise over. And they would take them, and during the bebop era, which is kind of the mid-late 30s to early 50s, these guys would take a chord progression and compose completely new melodies to them. So I'm just kind of getting into a little history of jazz here, but so like Thelonious Monk, and everybody heard Thelonious Monk, so one of my favorite composers of that period. He's a pianist, and he was very famous for taking different chord progressions but completely reworking them and coming up with a new melody. So like that rhythm changes I just played, just 1, 6, 2, 5, and melody would be in B flat. So he came up with a tune called Rhythming. Anyway, it's a great field to study if you get into jazz and you want to go into it further. And so there's a repertoire out there of hundreds of tunes. You know, I probably know, 150, but there's probably 300-400 great tunes out there that guys learn, and that's how you develop. I teach at SOU. I'm the guitar instructor at SOU, and as soon as my students are able to, I try to get them into learning some of these tunes, because just like classical music, if you study classical guitar, you would be studying the classical repertoire. You would be studying Bach and Mozart and all that. And I think in the jazz world, it's the same thing. But you're studying Duke Ellington and Thelonious Monk and George Gershwin. Yeah. So, all right. Well, that's enough of the. So, jazz music. And again, jazz is a very broad term because there's all these subcategories of it. But the thing that they all have in common is improvisation, and it's how you can take a tune and create your own statement with the music. And you can do that with pop music. You know, growing up with the Beatles, I still play Beatles tunes that I love, but I do them in my own, my own way. So like here's an example. You probably may recognize this if I don't distort too much. See. So that's what jazz is about, is basically learning the vocabulary. And so in terms of other styles of music, other styles of guitar music, it's probably the most intense. You need the most theory to really do it. And so when I say theory, you need to understand scales, modes, how they relate to chords. I sort of look at them all intertwined. Scales and modes are the same to me.